Welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8, and this is part 1 of DRUKHARI. This is a Warhammer 40k supplemental book on the DRUKHARI, the Legion, the Raiders from the Dark City, the DRUKHARI. This will be posted in the Let's Play Hades playlist. Introduction. The book you hold is the ultimate guide to the DRUKHARI, piratical raiders who prey upon the denizens of real space. Inside these pages you will find everything you need to assemble your collection of DRUKHARI miniatures into an army of sadistic fiends, ready to carve a gruesome path through the galaxy. The DRUKHARI are an ancient and technologically advanced race that feeds on the suffering of others. Their ancestors ruled the stars long before mankind first ventured outward from Terra. And over long millennia, the ennui of their vast lifespans led them to ever greater acts of depravity and violence. Now, from the nightmare city of Camorra, nestled in the back heart of the Webway, the DRUKHARI launched their raids on the worlds of real space, slaughtering to sustain their withered souls, and gathering up slaves to take back to their morbid torture chambers. Gaming with the DRUKHARI offers a distinct and challenging experience in which you forego heavy armor and durability for exceptional maneuverability and firepower. Whether you field a force of Kabbalite soldiers, airborne warriors, or witch cults, or hulkling, homunculus-created monstrosities, the Codex DRUKHARI provides the rules and resources you require. The DRUKHARI offer fantastic opportunities to any collector. Many of the models in their range come with a wide variety of cruel and unusual weaponry to choose from, as well as wonderfully grotesque appendages and implements of torture. You can truly let your imagination run wild assembling and painting such a collection. Or you can build your army to fit the history and battle style of one of the many cabals, witch cults, or homunculus covens that inhabits the Dark City. Contained within this book, you will find all the information required to collect a DRUKHARI army and field it upon the tabletop. Evil Incarnate. This section delves into the grisly history of the DRUKHARI, the Dark City's most infamous organizations and denizens, and how their forces organize for war. Pageantry of Camorra. Here you will find a showcase of gorgeously painted miniatures and example armies to inspire your own collection of DRUKHARI Citadel miniatures, the Dark Eldari. In this section you will find data sheets for every unit in the DRUKHARI range, as well as the warrior lists and weapon rules. Camorrite Raiders. Finally, this section contains additional rules, including warlord traits, artifacts of cruelty, stratagems, and matched play points that will transform your collection of Citadel miniatures into a terrifying DRUKHARI raiding party. Evil Incarnate. Fiercely intelligent piratical raiders who feed upon anguish to stave off the slow death of their souls. The DRUKHARI epitomize everything wanton and cruel about the ancient Eldari race from which they are descended. Their boundless potential is put to every terrible purpose they can imagine, and because their lives span millennia, they have all the time they need to perfect their Stygian arts. The DRUKHARI turned their backs upon the material dimension long ago, and now only emerge from their twilight realm to revel in the torments of lesser races. The warrior cabals strike swiftly and without warning from portals open within the Webway, only to disappear like ghosts when enemy resistance becomes too severe. They launch their piratical raids from above, whole armies screaming into the midst of the foe, firing from the decks of the Baroque Gravcraft, before leaping down to experience the slaughter firsthand, Sprays of arterial blood and spasming corpses mark their passage. The laughter of these merciless warriors, the last thing their victims hear. To the sadistic DRUKHARI, the sweet fruit of the horror is as pleasing as the caress of a razored blade across soft flesh. They relish breaking the bodies of their captives, but prize even more highly the process of crushing their spirits, for nothing is more gratifying to the denizens of the dark city than securing utter dominion over those who have resisted them. They drink in every nuance of woe until their captives gibber and plead for death, a mercy the DRUKHARI are famously slow to grant. The warriors of the DRUKHARI are tall and lithe without exception. Their alabaster skin is almost corpse-like in its pallor, for there is no true sunlight within their shadowy realm. Their athletic physiques are lined with whipcord muscle, honed and enhanced until they are superior even to their craft world cousins, the Asurani. For the warriors of the Camorra prize martial prowess most highly. They stride through the fires of battle with the surety of those who have lived for millennia, and they rarely sully their tongues with the grunting of languages of the inferior races, using translator technology on the occasions when communication is unavoidable. But their magnificence is only skin deep. Viewed with the which sight DRUKHARI are repugnant monsters, eternally thirsting for anguish of others in order to fill the aching void of their core. The DRUKHARI are masters of fighting with every weapon at their disposal. Survival amongst their society demands nothing less. Little distinction is drawn between the sexes, for an individual's skill and cunning is far more important than traits such as height or gender. Their senses are keen to the point of paranoia, their shadowed eyes and tapered ears, alert to the slightest disturbance. In the dark city in which they make their lair, the incautious do not survive for long. While countless generations of conflict have ensured the DRUKHARI's bodies are even more suited to physical combat than other elements of the Eldari race, the innate psychic abilities possessed by their forebears have, by necessity, been allowed to atrophy. To channel the energies of the warp within the dark cities would be to invite disaster, for doing so could draw the gaze of the Chaos God Slanesh, the one the Eldari fearfully call She Who Thirsts. As such, the use of psychic powers is one of the few things forbidden in Camorra. The weaponry manufactured within the Dark City is just as advanced as that which is physically grown upon the craft worlds. Psychically. I guess I substitute some H's in there. In matters of the war, the DRUKHARI are artisans supreme. Their technology refined to such a point that it may as well be magical. Their endless imagination and skill have led them down a sinister path indeed. Their favorite tools of war include splinter weapons that can set every nerve aflame with pain, dark light beams, whips that bleed acidic ichor, and eldritch soul traps. The DRUKHARI are so confident of their own abilities that their lightweight bodysuits incorporate bladed plates not only for protection, but also to give them yet another weapon to use upon their prey. Collectively, the warriors of the Camorra know all the ways there are to kill the galaxy's myriad creatures, and delight in perfecting as many as they can. When I look upon the lesser races, I am filled with disgust. Left to their own devices, they lead lives that are pitifully brief and completely devoid of meaning. How many of their generations have passed by in my lifetime? The answer is beneath my attention. Yet with the correct application of my art, each of those wretched beings can be made to endure an eternity of suffering, and it is through their screams that they show me their value. Urium Rakarov, master homunculus of the prophets of flesh. DRUKHARI raids are launched with such speed and voraciousness that many defenders are slain before they even know they are under attack. Without question, those who die ignorant of the fiends that had come for them are the most fortunate. The Labyrinth Dimension. For the period of mankind, travel between distant stars is made possible by passing through the warp, the twisted dimension of the Chaos Gods. To do so is to invite peril, for the predatory servants of the ruinous powers are able to scent the emotional trace of interlopers, devouring their souls of those they find. For the DRUKHARI, as with all members of the race, this danger is even greater. For where the soul of a human is but a dim flicker in the warp, that of an Eldari is as a blazing beacon. To enter the Emiterium is to draw the attention of she who thirsts, who was created millennia ago by the unfathomable decadence of the DRUKHARI ancestors. But there are other ways to traverse the stars, such as through the interstitial nether realm known as the Webway, sometimes called the Labyrinth Dimension. The Webway is a construct of shimmering arterial pathways that span both real space and the Immaterium. It is defined by the fact that it sits between the material realm and the roiling tides of the warp, comparable to the surface of a mirror or the fabric of a veil cast over something foul. The ancient Eldari discovered that it was possible to exist within the silvered surface, to move between the threads of the veil. It is here that the DRUKHARI have made their home, and it is by using the innumerable hidden portals that connect the Webway in real space that the raiding parties of Kamara are able to terrorize the galaxy. Since the fall of the great tragedy of the Eldari race, the Webway has been a realm both shattered and dangerous, its splintered reaches infested by strange beings from different realities. Yet this is the perfect breeding ground for the warriors of the DRUKHARI. Kamara. In the depths of the Webway lies Kamara, named by many in fearful whispers as Dark City. Kamara is the greatest of the megalopsies of real space, as a soaring mountain is to a mound of termites. Its dimension would be considered impossible if they could be read by conventional means. Its population greater than that of whole star systems. Although called a city, Kamara is more akin to a vast collection of satellite realms linked by myriad portals and hidden pathways. Its far-flung nodes spread throughout the arteries of the Webway like a malevolent virus. While inside that labyrinth dimension, the gap between each realm can be crossed with a single step. Kamara's clustered concentrations are in reality scattered across the galaxy, in some cases thousands of light years apart. Kamara appears within the Webway as a composite entity of impossible scale, a shimmering, contradictory realm that plucks at the sanity of those who approach it. Thousands of ships dock each day with its outflung spines, for the DRUKHARI are far more numerous than even their craft world can suspect. It is not only the society of the DRUKHARI that festers within this terrible realm. Kamara also plays host to many of the galaxy's most disreputable and villainous individuals, including alien mercenaries, bounty hunters, corsairs, and renegades, all risking their souls in the hopes of claiming the riches of the Dark City. Lord of Darkness. The occupants of the Dark City are sadistic murderers all, abjectly self-serving and incapable of compassion. Violent civil skirmishes are omnipresent, yet descent into complete anarchy is prevented by the ruthless hand of the supreme overlord of Kamara, Asdrubal Vect, a master strategist and tactician. The vexed mind is as sharp as the blades he puts to the throats of his detractors. It is by his cunning that the warring cabals are kept in balance, unable to devour each other completely, yet still spurred to brutal competition with one another as they vie for the supreme overlord's favor. In this way, the political statuses of these bitter rivals are in constant flux, the ebbing and flowing of their power driven ever by Vect. Those killers who are able to thrive in this environment, whilst remaining in Vect's graces, are given permission to put their practiced brutality to use during real space raids. We'll call that a part. I hope all of you had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.